All right, welcome back to Power Lunch. Hope you're having a great Friday wherever in America or the world you may be. The markets, stocks, bonds, energy, they're all navigating the latest headlines. And to stay ahead, we're watching the semiconductor space. The Wall Street Journal reporting the Trump administration wants to revoke waivers that allow, right now, global chip makers to ship American-made equipment to China. In other words, make them not be able to do that. One name that has rallied in the last 3 months, Nvidia. That stock up more than 20%. And your next guest breaking down the technicals of that and more. Katie Stockton is the founder and managing partner of Fairlead Strategies. She's going to be joining us, I'm told, in just a moment, Contessa Brewer, because we're going to look at the semiconductor stocks and what they call the market navigator segment. We're going to do what? Navigate the markets.
But you know what's interesting? When we have heard, and you had just brought this up earlier in the show, Brian, that Nvidia may be a great investment if you're not planning to hold it over a long period of time. But what happens in the short term when we're looking at the short term?
Well, listen, we're going to find out. Katie's going to be joining us momentarily, and we're going to look at the technicals of Nvidia, semiconductor stocks, and more. But it's a good point. My only point about gold was I wasn't knocking Nvidia. I wasn't knocking the stock market at all. But you know what? I made my point earlier, and Katie Stockton's good to go now, so we're just going to go to her. Katie Stockton joining us now. Fairlead Strategies joining us. Apparently, yellow is the color of summer. Contessa Brewer just said that. Katie, good to have you on right now. How do the charts look for Nvidia?
You know, we've seen a really massive relief rally off that April low, almost 70% upside. So you can imagine after that kind of gain, Nvidia does look overextended. And we haven't been terribly worried about the stock until very recently, when we saw some signs of short-term and also intermediate-term now upside exhaustion. That's based on our DeMark indicators. And we have a couple of charts that we brought with us. On the daily chart of the Nvidia, you'll see there's a counter-trend signal denoted by an arrow. And it's coming not terribly far from resistance, which is pretty strong, right around 150. And then if you zoom out to the weekly chart, you'll see also that as of this week, we have a weekly signal of the same kind. And we haven't seen these signals since the peak back in late 2024. So I do think there's risk here of a retracement, and that, you know, some investors might think about reducing exposure with that in mind.
Well, it's fascinating, too, because you've got two things here. You've got investors and you have traders. And, Katie, you know better than anybody, they're very different things, right? Investors, you buy for the long-term, months, quarters, years, decades, whatever it is. Traders, they could trade every minute, every second, every day to see what things are. And, guys, we can bring that chart back up. What's fascinating about Nvidia, Katie, is that for all the attention it gets, I mean, we talk about it all the time, the stock has not made investors, longer-term buyers, any money in about a year.
That's right. So we've seen the stock move from a cyclical uptrend into a long-term trading range. You can see that in the kind of flat slope of the 200-day moving average, which, by the way, is about 11% below current levels. It's not a major support level. The major support defining the bottom boundary of the range is closer to 100. So it's a pretty wide range. And within that range, traders actually probably should welcome the possibility for more volatility, because for those that bought in April, they're up nearly 70%, right? So I think traders, it's actually a better environment in Nvidia for them as long as this trading range is intact. And as you'd guess, the trading range does reflect a loss of long-term upside momentum to suggest that the broader market might be challenged for the balance of the year.
Well, broader market might be challenged, maybe a DeMark indicator, short-term top on Nvidia. Said a lot without having to say a lot. Katie Stockton, Fairlead Strategies. Katie, have a great day, good weekend. Thank you.